Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to offer this prayer before we start. In light of the heartbreaking news out of Israel today and yesterday, I'd like to offer the following prayer for the Bibas family and for humanity. God who weeps in heaven, hold the Bibas family in your Shekhinah, your sheltering presence. Each life is precious. This loss, God, seems more than we can bear. Today we confront the worst of what people can do to one another. Help us keep faith in our fellow human beings. Help us believe one day no children will die in tunnels and no families will be destroyed by war. Today, grant each of us the power, the strength, and the energy to do one small thing that makes the world better. Amen.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. B'melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to Temple Emanu-El on this Shabbat evening. I'd like to welcome members of our Introduction to Judaism class that are with us, so welcome. And it's good to be with you all. This will be an Ask the Rabbi session. We haven't done one in a long time, so think of questions. Think of questions. Anything you want. And if I don't have the answer, Cantor does, so that'll be good. That'll be good. Thank God. And I think more than anything else, we need to be together in community, and we need Shabbat, right? That's what we need right now. So we continue the lighting of the Shabbat candles. I'd like to call upon the lovely Frederick family. Not the other Frederick, the lovely Frederick family.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Want to do it? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Now that we welcome Shabbat, I invite you to welcome the person next to you. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Maybe introduce yourself to someone you don't know. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach.
thought has blown the marketplace away. There's a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Please rise if you're able to for Baruch Hu. Please be seated. And if you're able to, please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvituna meshana itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem kirtzono. Bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or, ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל החי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Together, this is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, my beloved, or cross over? This is an hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, my beloved, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu, uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu ve'orech yadeinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah
invite us to take a deep breath in, exhaling out. Another deep cleansing breath in as you breathe in that sense of Shabbat, energy and peace, and exhale out all that other stuff we don't need in our hearts and souls right now.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
We continue responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there's one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. I don't know, freedom feels different right now. We sing about freedom.
Yai, 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 yai. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים לחיים. May you shelter us with peace until the morning comes. May you lay us down with love, and may you raise us up. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim l'chaim. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We continue with the central portion of our worship with our tefillah, beginning with our vote prayer that talks about our ancestors. Then we'll go to our Giverot prayer that talks about power, and we need to think about our own power right now. And then we'll go to the Kiddushah version of the Kiddushah that talks about holiness.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zolcher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar bichamocha bal gevurot umito melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai Mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. God, help us to make this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility in school, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the work you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We join together. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'irah na'avod. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lached na'el lehodot. This week's Torah portion is a really important one. Mishpatim has lots of laws in it, lots and lots of laws. But there's one law that it has in it that we have more than any other law in our Torah. It occurs 36 times in the Torah, and that is a reminder of how we should treat the stranger. Why? Because we were strangers in the land of Egypt. So for this moment of silence, I invite each of us to just take a few moments and think about that stranger who lives amongst us. How are they feeling right now, being a stranger in this community? Are they immigrants? Are they part of the queer community? Are they just trying to figure out, like all of us, where my place is right now? Am I going to be safe tomorrow? It's a lot of things we're feeling. So I invite us to take a deep breath, remembering our own power, and that we are going to be fine. But we need to breathe into this and think about what's our action item. What is that one person around us that needs our support right now that's feeling this, as we pause in silent reflection.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata Adon lechol hashalom, ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol het uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom tasim leolam.
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Pam Axelrod, Ira Berkowitz, Mort Berlant, Carol Brindell, Francie Brown, Maggie Kent, Shelley Carter, Ellen Dover, Doris Davis, Toby Ellman, Marcia Garcia, Erica Gardner, Jerry Gassman, Ellie Gersley, Rachel Goldman, Olivia Hand, Avram Harris, Linda Harris, Lewis Harris, Jim Hubert, Arlene Humphrey, Edna Hyatt, Sharon Jackson, Rolando Johnson, Steve Ladowitz, Elizabeth Ledwitz, Dan Lee, Carol Lerner, Jackie Levinson, Amanda Lopez, Bobby Lotman, Maureen McIntyre, Stephen Marceri, Scott Morgan, Barbara Morse, Sarah Oser, Barry Pinsley, Ann Port, Sherry Prezant, Stephanie Rasmussen, Laura Sanders, Barbara Schoenfeld, Norman Schoenfeld, Ray Singh, Margie Stein, Donna Thyman, Grayson Tillman, Rick Tuttle, Kurt Willis Sr., Sue Witten, Orrin Wood. If you wish to add another name to our healing list, I invite you to raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We wish upon those you mentioned and those remain unnamed, refuah shlema, a speedy and complete recovery as we join together praying for their better health with Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
You got the questions?
You got answers?
You got answers. Answers. Mark's brother bit here. Is your hand up? Is that a hand up? No, you just did that? Okay. Come on, it's always the first one's the hardest. Let's go. Okay. Of course you do. Jim. Oh yeah, everyone. This is Jim Pollock. If you didn't know.
Should I go to the front? So I know that we talk about emotions a lot in our group, and some of them are disheartening, and some of them are very humorous too. And I've been kind of curious about. There's a lot of comedy in our faith, and there are a lot of great comedians that happen to be Jews. Is there any sort of correlation to that? And I have a follow-up question. Was Seinfeld a Jewish TV show?
That's a really good. Actually, I like that question. I think anything a Jew does is Jewish. How's that? Within reason. Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I would suggest that it's integral to being Jewish is having a sense of humor, but it's more than that. If you take a look at one of the worst episodes in modern times, right, the Shoah and Holocaust, you look at the Warsaw Ghetto, well, how did they get through that? Well, notoriously, they had Yiddish theater going on. So in the midst of everything going on, they had Yiddish theater, they had comedy going on. That led to the Catskills directly, and what we saw in New York and the Catskills in terms of that era. And then you have peeps like the Marx Brothers, which are probably the most brilliant in so many ways. But I think it very much so was about, where do you find your place in the world? If you're treated so horribly, if you're viewed as being a minority and not being included, what value can you bring to a community? Traditionally, what Jews would do in communities, we'd be brought in. It was often what Christians would do. They'd bring in Jews to deal with the things they didn't want to deal with, which later on we got nailed with, which was tax collection and dealing money stuff. They don't want to do this. They brought Jews in. When they're done with them, they get rid of them, right? So I think you need to find value in your identity. Humor is a great way to do that. So is kind of the entertainment world. And there's no, I think there's no coincidence that it was Jews that created Hollywood and Las Vegas. And a lot of it was to move vaudeville out, They saw an opportunity. But I think that we have a long history of kind of music and humor. So I add culture to that, not just humor. There was a time where every Jewish child would learn an instrument, often violin, but would learn an instrument. It was actually part of our identity as a people. And I think that's helped open the brain. It did something else. It gave each of us a tool to deal with our own anxiety, which music can do by playing music, right? I think humor helps do that too. I think there is something there where it's integral to who we are. And yes, there's lots of good comedians that aren't Jewish, but the best are Jewish. I'm just not saying. Look, at George Carlin's my favorite stand-up, and I made him an honorary Jew many years ago. I make people honorary Jews. Manny Moda, if you don't know who he is, he's an honorary Jew. Magic Johnson's an honorary Jew. They don't know this, but they are honorary Jews. So, yeah, that's right. That's a good question, actually. I appreciate that. What? Yeah, you should have opened with a joke. Anyone else? Question? Any question?
In this time of strife and disagreement, how do you, as a rabbi, work together towards like common cause with people who you may not always agree with 100% of the time, or 50% of the time, or less?
Thank you for not the softball. Oy vey. I think there's a couple of things. One is, and I think the one you're asking is more about how do we deal with people in our lives that we just aren't seeing eye to eye on. And I think in that case, it's about listening. So I have a cousin who I love very much in SoCal who voted for Trump. And I knew he was nervous about it in a way with our family because we're all pretty loud about what we believe. And I mean, it comes shocking to you. And I really I love him. And I love Pete, and I just wanted to lean in. And so I've asked him questions. We've had a couple conversations. Every time I go down south, I try to connect. His mom, my auntie, is 104 next month, just saying. And she lives on her own, just saying. She is amazing, my Aunt Lois. So I like to see her. So, I've been asking him questions. Just want to try to get his perspective. And I have to be honest, it's been hard for him. So I've been very easy about it because I want him to really know that I just want to hear what he thinks. I'm really trying to understand what happened here, to be honest. So I think being curious with people is important, especially if you love and care about them. Now, in terms of the communal work that I do, for a long time, we have been building relationships with the interfaith community. There were two rabbis that basically did that work. Melanie Aaron, who's the emeritus rabbi at Shir Hadash, really led that charge when I came in the community. She was the only one doing it, and I joined her in that. And she and I did this for a long time, and when she left, when she retired and went to Washington to be with her grandchild, I got some other colleagues together, and we talked about, guys, it can't be just me out there doing this stuff. I need some help here. And so there's a lot of us doing stuff. But I'm very proud, and it came to fruition on 10/7 first, and then this election, with the relationships we have built these many years. So I started an interfaith group with 4 other people called the Silicon Valley Faith Leaders Collaborative about 5-6 years ago. The goal of that initially was to deal with unhoused. I was growing, very frustrated with the fact our government wasn't dealing with it, and so I brought together a group from ALF and PACT together, and we tried to do that. And then other things were happening in our country. And so we switched it to actually Black Lives Matter stuff and dealing with how we treat people in this community, and that's been our focus. I think that's been a very safe place for all of us clergy people to talk about how we're really feeling. And I would suggest that's what we all need. We need a safe place to talk about how we're feeling so that you can be engaged in that conversation out there. Because I think that's really important to do that. But I also would say this to you all, since you asked that question. I think we have to pace ourselves with all of this stuff. Our own movement, the Reform movement, obviously reacted very intensely to what Trump said about Gaza. I wouldn't have done that. Because if we respond to everything this guy's saying, I think we'll have blown out everything in the next 2 weeks. So I think we have to pace ourselves and really be thoughtful about what we're going to respond to. How much of it is hyperbolic, which is plenty, but what one says, we should believe they will do. So I think what we're looking at in the community is bringing everyone together, all interfaith groups. The Jewish JCRC is going to help me do this with Jessica Blitzschock. But we're going to bring everyone together. PACT will be announcing my buddy becoming the new executive director of PACT this week. I'm very excited. And we're going to look at what are the things we can achieve, who can do that, like immigration. Let's have a group doing that. And that's probably the biggest one initially for all of us. Who's going to deal with this other group, right? Who's going to deal with this piece that's coming down the pike, And there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think we need to be really thoughtful and strategic and not reactive. Not reactive. And the way you do that is by not watching the news. Don't do it. Don't do it. When the moment you just think, I want to check the weather. Don't do it. Look on your app, Weather Channel or whatever, look at that. But don't do it because it's propaganda, number one. If you want real information, you know how to get that online. I do think there are newspapers that I would recommend that I think are important to have. For me, the Israeli one is Haaretz, because I want to see liberal and conservative points of view. I want to see all points of view. I don't want to talk to the choir, and I want the choir talking to me at this point. I need to see it all. It's very important. But do that once a day, not throughout the day. My daughters warn me I got to shut off my notifications too. I keep forgetting. I do get those, and that's like, why do that? Because then you pop up, you look at your phone like, oy vey. It's another oy vey moment, right? So I think having the conversations in groups of people that we feel comfortable with and trust is so important, and really listening, and then asking that question to people that we are on the same page. How do you deal with someone who's just not getting it from the same place that we're getting it? And I wonder if it's us that's not getting it sometimes. And then I realize, no, that's not it. That's not it. Sometimes wish it was. It's a good question, Quinn. Anyone else? You'll use your outdoor voice. Go for it. Yeah. Yes.
I'm wondering, this is a change of subject from what the previous.
That'd be great. I appreciate that.
But what do you feel like a Jewish response when you're a fan of someone whose works you find enjoyable or interesting, and then you find out that that person has done bad things? I'm curious, is there a Jewish way to answer this, or how do you deal with repentance and acceptance, but also holding the person accountable and separating the creator from the artist and all of those?
I really appreciate that question. Ken and I actually have talked about this, and I talk about it with colleagues too, because there are certain artists, one of which I went to school with, that I love his Kedusha. I do. And, we in our movement, we went through a major process in the last 10 years of looking at our behavior internally at camps, how we treated people, the misogyny in our movement and other things. And he was one of those that treated female rabbinic students badly in Cincinnati, for example. There's someone else who's very famous also who did a lot of Jewish music, Karbach, and he also he'd done really kind of horrible things. What I do is I talk to who my clergy partner is, in this case, Cantor-Lee, and I ask her what her comfort level is. Because part of it is, from her soul, what is comfortable for her to be able to do. I give my perspective, and here's my perspective. And it began probably with someone like Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson's music. I think he's an incredibly talented person. And I think he's a disturbed person, from what I could gather. I believe we have to separate out the art from the person. Because if you take a look at it, there's a lot of art that, be it painting, be it music, be it dance, from people that are schmagegis at best. I mean, they're horrible. And I think we have to look at that art form. The hardest one for me, musically, would be a certain Nazi kind of, there was a certain, Wagner, Richard Wagner. I really like Richard Wagner's music, I'll be honest. The Ring operas, I've always thought one day it would be amazing in Germany to just be able to see them for 2 weeks, or whatever it is you have to see. There's just something about it. The mythology of Nordic mythology, all of that. Actually, Hitler took some stuff from him and that kind of thing. He wrote Here Comes the Bride, which I don't allow at a Jewish wedding. That's not cool. So there's a limit there, right? But I like that music, so I have to separate it out. And I learned that when I took, ironically, in high school in the San Fernando Valley, I had a teacher, and he was Jewish, and he taught Holocaust in high school. Isn't that cool? He actually taught a class, but he did it in a really neat way. He taught it through literature and some other methodologies, if you will. And that's kind of where I learned that piece, where you have to separate out. Why? Because he loved Wagner. So he actually talked about that. And He was the one that taught me about Wagner and the whole Nordic mythology thing that Hitler took. I didn't even know any of that. I was, in high school. And I think that was a really important lesson, that we have to separate that out. If we can. Now, when you lead worship and you do a prayer, I don't know. I think that could be hard. Doing a prayer from someone who's notoriously not a good person, I think that's a challenge. But that's kind of my response. Separating out from the artist, the art, but in the end, the cantor has to be able to be comfortable with the music. We don't do a lot of Karbach here, do we? It's not your thing. Yeah. And cantor, that's also the other piece. I think it's important, for the cantor to do what she or he feels comfortable doing musically anyway. They're the musicologists. Cool. Anyone else? You're all fading. Michael, and then one more. What was that? Yeah, it's very philosophical.
I have a less philosophical question. During the service, there's a lot of bowing, and then there's not bowing at certain places where you think that there might be a bowing. To fake you out. And I guess it's a lot of questions in one. So why and when the bowing, and then why the choice of prayers that we'd say during the Shabbat service, and
That's all you're gonna get.
Okay.
First of all, I love the question, Michael, because I think the bowing is something that's interesting. So let me start with a vote and the kind of the Amidah, the central portion of worship. You know that for the tefillah, for the opening prayer, the way it works officially is on Baruch, you bend, Baruch, Atah, Adonai. And you do that for a vote prayer and not Giverot. A lot of people do it on Giverot. And the reason why it's written in the Talmud, actually, is because you can't bow too much, because then it doesn't become serious or as serious. So the rabbis teach you really got to bow when it matters. You got to do it for a vote, not Giverot. There's another rationale for that too, and that's because it has an opening and closing blessing, a petichana chatima, and that's another rationale for that maybe. But that's what the Talmud teaches for that one. But the real issue with bowing, it's this. So you'll see for Mourner's Kaddish especially, right? So you see the action, or at the end of the Amidah, if one does a silent Amidah, is, the bowing I did in the beginning, and that you'll exit by doing this kind of movement. This way, this way, this way. What it is, it's as if you're having a conversation with a king. And so before you talk with the king, you bow out of kavod, out of respect. Same thing as when you exit the conversation. And I equate that to if you've ever done karate, any kind of martial arts, and you go into a studio, you always bow before the master, for example. The same concept, I think. There's another time we bow, and that's the Torah. When the Torah comes around, there's a couple of traditions. One tradition you may be familiar with is taking the tzitzit, touching the Torah, bringing honor to your lips, like that. The other tradition, which is Sephardic that I do, because this one for some of us feels like idol worship, is bowing, which doesn't feel like idol worship for some reason, for some of us. But you also keep the Torah always in front of you wherever it's going. That's another custom, out of kavod, out of respect. When it comes in before you, you would bow for that too. But for the Osei Shalom part at Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, it is exiting the conversation with the deity, if you will. So that's kind of why we do the bowing. We had a long time ago a jazz Shabbat service with a professor from Washington, George Washington actually, and he said something really funny. He said, like for Baruch Hu bowing, this is his impression. There was a chandelier. The guy who was leading was really tall, so he just had to bow to not bump his head, and then everyone just did it. And I think there's something to be said when he said that. Like it was Jose actually. That was fantastic. Jose Bowen is his name. But I thought that was a great, because that's part of it too, because minhagim, customs, can become law, as you know. And sometimes that's the case. It could be someone was watching someone do something and they just do it. By the way, I see that periodically with someone who's experimenting with their Jewish identity, that they'll stand or they'll do something during the service that they think they're supposed to do, but it's not. Of course, it's wrong because they watch someone else do it wrong. So it's fantastic. And in the end, is it really wrong if The other piece I would just say in general is I think prayer should be our total body. It's not meant just to be an intellectual thing. It's a physical thing too. So dancing a little bit helps with that. So I think the movement, you'll see shuckling a lot. Traditionally, if you go into a traditional synagogue, you'll see this kind of movement. I like this one a lot. It's better for my lower back doing this one than this one, right? But the idea of movement is really important. And part of that, I think, is like that mantra energy that happens with prayer sometimes as well. So I think that's another rationale for the movements that we have. Helps us connect to the prayer in a different way, physically. There was another, Robin.
The Baras family that they just brought out. When we sit Shiva, and when we commemorate death, we do it on the anniversary of death. In reality, because these are bodies coming out, is now their Shiva? Or do they analyze the remains to figure that out?
Oh, sorry. I took it away.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And then is that against religious law to be examining the body to figure that out? Or to figure out who it is?
It's a really good question. Well, I'll tell you that this morning Hamas gave another casket saying now it's her. So we don't know that yet. It's heading to Israel's forensic institution, its center, which they have. From a Jewish law perspective, you can only deal with the body as you get it. So once they have the body, they have a legality here. So legal stuff always takes precedent, traditionally speaking. So law of the land is law of the land. So if you have to have an autopsy, not that that's our preference, then you have it if it's what the law says. Another rationale would be for pikuach nefesh purposes, that's saving a life, that if by studying the body you can learn about a disease that could save someone's life, there's rationale for why you would do that based on a greater law called pikuach nefesh, meaning saving life. Right? We could break every law of Judaism except for 3 for pikuach nefesh. It's that important. So I think that's part of it. In terms of some of the ritual stuff, yes, Shiva, the funeral will take place the minute they release the body. Within that day it will happen. And that will be Shiva for that week. And the yard site, they probably will have to think about what they'll observe the family. That's going to be hard. Because what they're saying now is it happened in November of 2023, I believe, is what they're speculating when this happened to these bodies. That's why they have to take it to a forensic thing. Don't want to get more specific than that, I think. But I think you got to do what you got to do in this case. So they have to grieve. That's what our tradition's all about. So they would go into Shiva and all the normal grieving, quote unquote, rituals that you would do. The one thing you don't do, unfortunately, is tahara. You can't do it. When someone has an accident, you can't wash the body. This would also be that issue. So that's one thing they won't do. But they will put the bodies in whatever conditions into a burial shroud and then put it, as Israel's custom, they put it right into the ground. There's no casket, which is a waste of great wood. Yeah. We can't end on this. Can't end on this. Let's think of something positive. Right? I know. Yeah, you always could do that. I think that's predicted to be 103 wins. That's what they said. But it'll be well over that. Yeah, it'll be well over that. And you know what, Giant fans? You got a better team than last year. Anyway, I want to thank you. I think these questions were very much so where we're at right now, isn't it? This is a time of depth for us. We're trying to figure stuff out. We're trying to understand what's really going on some level. But here, in the end, what matters the most, I think, is that we have each other and that we're in community together to work through this. Because this is not something we could do alone. There's no way. We really do need our community. And we need our larger Jewish community and larger faith community because we have tremendous power when we work together. So that's my nechemta. That's my statement of comfort is that I do believe, and I am optimistic. I do believe we're going to be not only okay, I think in the end we'll thrive. And I think things as they seem now will be very different soon. Maybe not soon enough, but soon. Alavai, as we say. Let's take a breath. All right. I think we need some announcements. Things we could do in community. There you go. Perfect.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. My name's Brandon Frederick. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our Erev Shabbat service led by Rabbi Magat and Cantor Shafritz. Just tiny. After the service, we invite you to the Temple House for Kiddush, Hamotzi, and Oneg. And while you're there, if you're new to our congregation and you have any questions about our congregation, I invite you to come talk to me or anyone else wearing one of these little name tags that says they're a board member. When you're a board member, you theoretically know what's going on, so good person to ask. And then if you're looking for other information about what's going on in the back corner of the room, we have a Shalom table covered in handouts for upcoming events, including our Spring Circles registration, which is ongoing, going through this Sunday. And we've got a ballroom dinner dance party on March 16th, which they predict will be awesome. Purim and all of its festivities begin the week of March 9th. And if you are available to help distribute the Mishloach Manot, talk to the temple office. Or if you wish to just contribute, check online. Next Friday is Shabbat at home via Zoom at 6:15. Shabbat Shalom.
Please rise if you're able for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
It is our custom, our minhag at Temple Emanu-El, upon hearing the name of your loved one for yard site, to stand as a sign of love and grief for that person, and to remain standing till all the names on our yard site list have been recited. Then together we'll all rise. On this Shabbat, we especially think of the Shiva, the first week of mourning for Ariel Bibas, 4 years old, Kafir Bibas, 9 months old, Oded Lifshitz, 83 years old. We also think of those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Leiti Day, as well as those that are grieving the Shana for Jeff Andre, Frederick J. Billmeyer, Michael Blevins, Dr. Howard Bloom, Pauline Bronstein, President Jimmy Carter, Ray Carter, Mal Kosman, Janice Decker, Sandy Epstein, Marilyn Fuller, Josefina Garcia, Vicki Nosanoff-Goldman, David Gordon, Janet Groden, Stanley Gross, Shmuel Guerra, Mickey Holloway, Barbara Hines, Debbie Hetler, Kenny Johnson, Mimi Jones, Al Cadis, Joy Kaiser, Sandra Lemon, Harold Makoff, Sherry Mates, Joey McKay, Lorraine Mellon, Andrew Miller, Howard Miller, Margie Milrod, Seth Mitchner, David Moore, Barbara Neiman, Nancy Polliger, Socorro Perez, Mark Pollock, Sally Ravel, Ethel Ress, Florence Rigby, Joe Riggio, Linda Rogers, Susan Russo, Kendra Silberman, Norma Slavett, Rabbi John Stein, Marty Stein, Betty Stewart, Mickey Stewart, Bridget Taylor, Scott Toddy, Concepcion Sanchez Valente, Harriet Weintraub, Shirley Wiesner, Jack Stewart Weisberger, Eleanor Chastain Williams, Stacy Lynn Wolf, Tim Zimmer. We also think of the following yard sites we observe on this Shabbat as we think of Eric C. Acker, Molly Blumstein, Abraham Boxer, Mildred Bortz Briskin, Cece Carl, Ruth Charlesworth, Hyman Cohen, Phoebe Cohen, Bill Davenport, Sandy Davis, Alexander Favorman, Mary Freeman, Florence Carol Gambord Averick, Joseph Garshon, Maury Gross, Irma Hartfield, David Herlick, Selma Karcham, Moses Katz, Abraham Katz, Pauline Kessler, Marguerite Abt Courant, former president of our congregation, Bob Crandell, Herbert Lee, Sylvia Lurie, Sarah Marchek, James Mayer, Harry Miller, Sarah Herdmiller, Henrietta Mincer, Sam Mincer, Jacob Myers, Burgos Pagnalian, Sandra Plavin, Florence Rappaport, Howard Recht, Betty Rinsler, Leonard Roleg, Marion Rosen, Dr. Joseph Rosen, Isidore Rosenthal, Morris Zaslaw, Evelyn Sable, Stanley Schneider, Sunny Schwab, Pauline Katz-Senders, Devine Scar, May Siegel, Joan Singer, Beatrice Stein, Julius Stein, Leonard Taylor, Ann Wiener, Ray Wolf, Francis Wolfson, Sophia Yampolsky, Betty Yules, Rose Zacher. Zichronam livracha, may all the memories of our loved ones endure as a blessing as we all rise to recite together our mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me rabba, ve'almad divrach yirutei ve'amlich malachutei, ve'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chay dachol be'Yisrael, v'agalav uzman kari v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach ve'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha b'rechu, Le'elam minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'mian belma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlomo rabba meshamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'akol Yisrael, v'akol shvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to those who are bereaved among us, wherever they may be, as we say together, amen. Please be seated.
Ose shalom b'mromav, Ose shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Ose shalom Bimromav, Ose Shalom. Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Shabbat Shalom.